No, I won't be afraid. No, I won't be afraid. Just as long as you stand by me. So Savior, Savior, stand by me. Lord, I need you to stand by me. Lord, I need you to stand, Lord.
All right, what up, Gospel Diaries? Listen, I am so excited to present to you yet another episode. Man, I'm in the city of Chicago. Yeah, it's cold, but it's all right. Anyway, would you do me a favor, subscribe to the channel, follow, share, and you'll be glad that you did. But anywho, listen, man, I'm so excited to have this guy right here sitting next to me. He's just making a great impact on gospel music, and I'm just elated just to sit here with you and kind of delve into your story, man. So how you doing? This is Nate Martin, by the way. How you doing?
I'm good. How you doing?
All right. Missionary Baptist Church. So of course we're gonna get into that, but I'm under the impression. Well, I do know because you shared this that your childhood church produced an album way back, probably in the '80s, perhaps, and you found that album.
I did.
Talk about, first of all, what is your childhood church?
Okay, so I grew up, was born in, they say you can't just join in, but I was born and raised at Evangelistic Crusaders Church of God in Christ on 91st and Cottage Grove. I was there for 16 long years, and yeah, that's where I got my home training at. Of course, Dr. Cynthia Nunn was the minister of music there at one point, and I hear so many legendary musical stories about the church. But yeah, definitely diving into that album was something special.
What's your favorite song on the album?
I think it would be Abide in Me.
Really?
For some reason, I really like that song. Now, everybody had been talking about that album like from the time I was a kid. And I was like, I got fed up. I'm like, somebody has to have this record. And somebody at the church did have it. And I got a hold of it.
They were kind enough to share it.
They were kind enough to share it, but they said make sure it's returned in the same condition that we. Gave it to you in.
Was there any scratches on the album?
No, they kept that thing in perfect condition.
That's what's up. That's what's up. Okay, so being at your childhood church, did you watch Fellowship's telecast? How was you introduced to Fellowship?
I'm a Chicago gospel music and history fan,
okay.
all around. And it's actually an interesting story. A lot of people don't know how I got there. A lot of people think that I've been there my whole life, which I have not. I'm just kind of like the Fellowship baby at this point. But one Sunday morning, I was going to church, and it was kind of early, so my dad was like, is there any churches you want to go and visit? Fellowship was the first thing that popped in my head.
Really?
And we went to the 10 o'clock service at the time. And I was just a visitor. And then the rest is history. I went every Sunday after that.
Now, what year was that?
That was That was the last Sunday in July 2017.
2017. So Reverend Evans had already, that era was over with. So
that
you went
was
under
over.
the administration pastor. This your pops, right?
Yeah, pretty much. Everybody says
Jenkins,
that.
Right?
Yeah.
Now, was there any? So, of course, you heard of Reverend Clay Evans before you went over there, and Jenkins was there. Now, what was the difference? Would you say when you got to fellowship with Reverend Jenkins, opposed to Reverend Clay Evans when you watched those old clips?
So much.
What?
I mean, I don't know where to start about the difference. But I will say that Pastor Jenkins did a great job, gearing in the youth, but also still honoring those that were from that previous era of the church. And I always tell people I got the best of both worlds. Now I say all three worlds, even though that Reverend Evans was not my pastor when I was there, through of course the connection of Mama Lou, was like my grandma, my adopted grandmother. She would take us over there, and I would have the opportunity to talk and visit with him every month, every other month. So like,
wait a minute, hold on. You went to the house and sat with Reverend Clay Evans?
Yes,
So
I would
did
say.
you have a fan moment, or did you?
Now the first day was crazy. Me and my play brother went. We went to preschool together. We've grown up together, and we both went because we had just joined the church. And I had gave Mama Lou 2 records that I wanted her and Reverend to sign, and she was like, "Have y'all been to the house?" We're like, "No," and she was like, "Okay, well I want y'all to meet us over there next week." And it took me like 10 minutes to get out the car when we got there. And we get inside, and of course, he was trying to let Mama Lou do a lot of talking, even though she's good at that, so she was doing it anyway. And she had to kind of hit my friend because he was just staring at Reverend with like his mouth open. I'm like, bro, leave him alone. But yeah, we definitely had that fan moment that first time around. Who opens doors that eyes cannot see? Jesus will, I know he will. Jesus will, oh yes he will. And then who will make all my decisions for me? Jesus will, I know he will. Jesus will. Hey, and when I'm in trouble, the Lord gives me a song. And in the night season and all the day long, and see who makes me do right when I would do wrong. Oh, Jesus will. I know Jesus will. And oh yes, yes, Jesus will. I know he will because he said he will. And oh yes, Jesus will. See, I know he will because he said he will. He'll fight my battles if I keep still. If I keep still, I know that he will. Oh, Jesus will. One more round. Oh, yes. Jesus will. I know he will, cause he said he will. Oh, yes. Jesus will, and I know he will, cause he said he will. He'll fight my battles if I keep still. If I keep still, I know that he will. Oh, Jesus will, yes he will. After that, he was always like, thank y'all so much for even thinking about, coming to visit me. And he said whenever we wanted to come, we could. And that's what we did for a year and a half, about from 2018 to 2019.
Wow, let's delve into your group, SIGN.
Okay.
The acronym means Singing in God's name.
Yep.
That's like kind of self-explanatory, right? But tell us about the origin of the group.
Of course, we already talked about my former church, the church I grew up at, Evangelistic Crusaders. So they had given me the task of putting together some singers for our youth convention back in 2016. And I had already wanted to start a group, so I'm like, hey, this is my excuse to just go ahead and get started. And at the time, when we started the group, May the 7th to be exact, 2016, I was 15. Didn't know nothing about starting a group or the gospel music scene in Chicago. I just knew I liked music and wanted to do it, with some people my age, because I hadn't really seen that before. So, and then since then we just been kind of I guess singing in God's name. Of course, you know, people have come and gone since then, especially, you know, the age of becoming, you know, going from high school to college or whatever. But of course, we never, you know, lacked members or musicians or anything. And it's been going up.
Well, if you allow me to digress just a moment here,
Okay.
you know, because you are a gospel enthusiast, so a lot of times when we look at some of these golden age groups and on up into the Jesus People movement, you know, you hear like, oh, this person sang with this person, this person sang with that group. We're actually watching right now what we're trying to research about those groups in the past. So that's pretty cool, ain't it?
Yeah.
All right, so you all, Sign has recorded music too as well.
That's correct.
So let's talk about that. Are you a composer or the arranger? What kind of music, or where do you get the music that you sing, your repertoire?
Of course, all the inspiration comes from that traditional music that I told you I grew up listening to and trying to, you know, infuse those, like I've been saying, bridge that gap between traditional and contemporary, make something enjoyable for all generations to enjoy. But when it comes to our music, I do, you know, pretty much compose, arrange, write the lyrics, and then my process is I'll, you know, go ahead and record it in my computer with the instrumentation and the vocals, kind of record all three parts, send it off to my musicians so they can, you know, put their spin on it, and then from there we take it to the group, and that's our process for the songs that I write.
Wow,
The Lord is my light and my salvation. The Lord is my light and my salvation. The Lord is my light, oh, and my salvation. So whom shall I fear, Lord? And in the time of trouble, He shall hide me. I know that in the time of trouble, He shall hide me. I know that in the time of trouble, He shall hide me. Oh, so whom shall I fear? So whom shall I fear? Oh Lord, whom shall I fear? And see, the Lord is the strength of my life. So whom shall I fear?
sound like this is a easy process in a sense. Comparing to yesteryear. Oh my
That's true.
God, could you imagine what they went through trying
Oh,
to get
yes.
trying to get some of their music to some of the artists that they wanted to record? Okay, so you're freshly back in the States from a European
Oh, yes.
tour. My God, from Zion. I mean, like, let's just bathe in that for a moment. Like, how did you get to Europe,
It's
man?
crazy to me too. That's a good question. How did I get to Europe?
Well, you know the answer, hopefully.
Well, yes, we know the answer, but still, that could have went to anybody.
Yeah.
So of course we're grateful. But last summer, Vincent Bohannon out of New York, he does this tour. He would do this tour every year. He did that for 5 years, and a greater opportunity came along for him overseas. So I ended up. He asked if we would be interested in doing it. Of course, I'm like, absolutely. You know, I've never been overseas. I've toured with Pastor Jenkins, of course, but not on my own, even in the States. So this was not just my first overseas tour. This is my first tour in general. So for it to be 3 weeks long and going from, we were on a flight or a plane. Well, we were on a plane or a train or somebody's coach bus every morning, getting up at like 4 o'clock every day for like 3 weeks. But in the end, it was all worth it. There was nobody opening for us. We did 90 minutes a night.
What?
For 23 days, 90 minutes a night. Of course, I had help, you know, with my other singers and stuff, so it didn't really wear out on me too much, but it was an amazing time.
So as far as the itinerary, so how was that even administrated? Like, where did the itinerary come from?
So there's a company over there that puts all of it together. Thank God, because couldn't be me. It's called Southside Music, and they basically get with all the local promoters in Italy, Norway, pretty much all over Europe, and with the festivals that are kind of pre-existing and some stuff they want to put on, you know, with the owners of some of the, of course, the most beautiful theaters you've ever seen. They will put it together with them and kind of come up with that itinerary from there. Dates were constantly being added up until pretty much a week or two before we got there. I kept asking for like the document with everything going in, but they were like, we're gonna wait till, you know, kind of when we get closer to. And when I got it, I saw why, because it was like 25, 30 pages of 3 weeks worth of every hotel, every flight confirmation, every train confirmation, and what, you know, vehicle we be on for this city, and venues and addresses. And so I see why they didn't give it to us up front, but when I saw it, I was like, okay, I'm gonna have to take this day by day. So what I do is the day before, I'll just look at everything that we have to do the next day, what time I'd have to get up, when my break is for my nap, because we didn't do sightseeing like that. It was just, you know, work the whole time. So the time that you would get to sightsee, you wouldn't want to sleep or eat, which is what we did. So yeah, I just have to study it the night before and just make sure I was good. That was the hard part, of course, getting up and singing. That, you know, we prepared for that for about 5-6 months, so that wasn't hard.
So you had your entire group and the band.
And they wanted me to add extra. They wanted 12 people. They wanted 8 singers, well, 1 lead, which was me, and then 7 backgrounds, and then they wanted 3 band members. So I did have to add a few friends of mine to come and sing as well. Some people from school that I had, yeah.
So I'm no Bible scholar, but it's somewhere in the book it talks about a prophet, something he's not awarded at home.
Yeah.
So somewhere in there. But look at how many people are embracing gospel music, and gospel music evolved. The concept of gospel music emerged right here in the United States, and it seemed like they praise gospel music way more than, you know, the people here domestically. So that's amazing that you were able to see it. Last but not least, what were some of the songs? Did they have any requests? Like, I want you to sing "Oh Happy Day," or was there any requests outside of your repertoire?
Yeah, if I never hear "Oh Happy Day" again, I might be okay. They wanted us to close with "Oh Happy Day" every night as the last song. Of course, they would plan this whole encore thing, so when we walk off after "Oh Happy Day," they would want us to come back and sing, you know, whatever we wanted to sing. They wanted to hear the "Lean on Me" and "Bridge Over Troubled Water" and things of that nature. I like to call it commercial, but, you know, I don't like to give it a title, but that's kind of what I refer to it as. Of course, things that they knew, so they could sing along, but no, I was really surprised. Like, it was a difference between Norway and Italy. Norway was a little more sophisticated when it came to gospel music, but Italians, they would go crazy. Like, they would catch on to the songs, you know, even our songs, the original songs. I remember one night before we even got off stage, there was a song uploaded, one of our original songs on YouTube, And that song's not even out yet. I'm like, and they had the title right and everything. I'm like, that's crazy. They started to, you know, pick up the songs and sing along. And not one night in Italy was there an empty seat at all. New Year's Eve and New Year's Day, they were turning people away at the door.
You know, this is just, I just feel so honored to be sitting next to you and hearing this story. I'm so proud of you.
Thank you.
I'm really proud of you. And I'm grateful for your gift, man. I mean, because you blessed so many people. I remember I actually made a special trip to come out here for your live recording because I really wanted to support you. And I really, really, really had a blast with you. And God, I can't wait to talk to you again.
Thank you.
Last but not least, listen, man, give us some type of encouraging word before we close out.
Encouraging word. Well, I'm gonna try to throw this out to people in my age range. This be for anybody. Okay. Like I said, be for anybody. I just say go after your dreams. Like no matter how young you are, because God can clearly use anybody. Like I said, I started the group when I was 15, and 7 years later, I would have never imagined that we would have recorded 3 albums so far. 2 are out, and been overseas, been on the platform, meeting the people like the great Reverend Clemens, like we were talking about. I would have never imagined that. If you told me that at 15, I promise you, like these are people that I watched, that I read about, countries that I've seen in history books in school. So I would just say, you know, my first single said "There's nothing too hard for God," and that still remains the same 7 years later. Wow. 7 years later.
I feel like an old Baptist preacher. You got to share you saw the Coliseum.
I saw the Coliseum.
Oh my God, how was that?
You know, it was a very interesting looking place. Really? I didn't go inside. Some of them did go inside, but like I was dog tired. That was New Year's. That was the 31st. That was right before our New Year's Eve concert in Rome. So we had been there almost about 3 weeks exactly at that point. So I'm like, I'm gonna go see it to say that I went. But I'm gonna go back to the hotel before we get to singing again. So yeah, that was pretty cool though.
Next time I see you on tour, I want to see you in the Middle East. I want to see you in the Holy Land.
Okay.
All right, Gospel Diaries. Thanks for watching, and as I say always, love on someone and change a life. Bye.
You don't have to be depressed. Don't be anxious. Be anxious for nothing. For God will. God will. God will. Be not dismayed. Whatever. Whatever. What. Whatever. What. Whatever be